Compliance hearing following an order to participate. Ms. Gutierrez is with us for the department. Mr. Ingram's with us representing the children. Ms. Naranjo is with us representing Jonathan Cullen, one of the fathers. Ms. Naranjo, he's not in the waiting room. Were you expecting him?
Yes, Your Honor, I was.
Okay,
Your Honor, I'm sorry to interrupt. He called our office wanting the number to call in, so we provided that to him.
okay, he's not there. Yeah. Excuse me. And Mr. Taylor is not with us. He represents the mother, Stacy Hart. She is not with us. Donna Christie's in the waiting room. She's set for the 9 o'clock hearing. I don't know if possibly she's covering for Mr. Taylor. I might bring her in just to see.
I am covering for Mr. Taylor. Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Then you're in the right place.
Awesome.
Your client, the mother, Miss Hart, is not with us. So just so you know. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Here's now that Mr. Cullen is with us. All right, this case was set for 8:30. It's now 8:37. We will proceed in Miss Hart and Mr. Arenas, the other father, will proceed in their absence. I will watch the waiting room in case they happen to come in.
Thank you, Your Honor. The department calls Cherie Hughes as its witness. It looks like you've been assigned to help the family work services per the court order. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you give us an update on the progress made by Stacy Hart?
Yes. For Mrs. Hart, she has started her parenting classes. We're doing the Love and Logic. She is on module 3 of 7. She was asked a drug screen on December the 14th. I did text with her this morning and she did not go. And then the department had asked her to do the domestic violence support groups. She has 1 out of 10 left of those. And then in regards to counseling, we had set her up with a therapist, but there's quite a wait list. So we are thinking about maybe sending her to someone else if I can find someone that can get her in a lot quicker.
Okay. Let me see here. And in regards to Jonathan Cullen, can we get an update on his progress?
Yes, ma'am. So the counseling is kind of the same situation. On the parenting, we're going to do the Love and Logic also. And then when I talked to him last week on the drug assessment, I believe alcohol is more of an issue. So we're going to try to take a different route than the typical drug classes. I did ask him to drug screen on December the 16th. I looked this morning and I did not have a result, so I'm not sure. And I didn't talk to him this morning to see if he did actually go and drug screen. I did ask him about his rational behavior therapy. He was scheduled to do that on December the 14th, but had not paid to be able to attend through Zoom. So he was going to have to reschedule that and pay to attend through Zoom. His BIP classes do start tomorrow, actually, on December the 19th.
Okay. Now, Ms. Hughes, you mentioned that Dad is going to do Love and Logic. Where is he in that service? Has he started it, or is it just lined up for him?
He has not started that yet. And that's something that I have the material for that, and I'll be going over each module with each parent at our home visits. We'll go over those, and he has not started yet.
Now, in regards to the drug assessment, that was a part of his order to participate. Did he have a concerning drug screen at some point during the case?
Not that I can find, and I did ask him. He stated that he never drug screened for the department before.
Just a moment, Your Honor. Okay, so there's no positive drug screen at this time, but he is conceding that alcohol is an issue. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. In regards to the children, how is Jalen doing?
He's doing good. I have talked to Mom about putting both of the children in daycare. I think it would help Mom out, and I think it would give them a chance to be more social with other children than just being at home all the time.
Okay. And in regards to Elena, other than the daycare you discussed with Jalen, is there anything else?
No, they're both doing well. They look well when I go. Mrs. Hart is always allows me in the home. I always see the children. They always look good. Everybody's current with any kind of doctor visits and dentists, so they look good overall.
Let's see. Are we asking the court to continue the order to participate for both parents to continue working services.
Yes, ma'am.
Are we also asking the court to order drug screens today?
Yes, ma'am.
Are we asking for both a hair follicle and a urinalysis from both parents?
Yes, please.
And that is specifically on Ms. Hart and Mr. Cullen.
Yes, ma'am.
Are there any recommended services we are asking the court to make an order today?
None other than what we already are working on.
Now, in regards to the drug assessment, you had mentioned with Mr. Collins, y'all were going to go a different direction with some of the classes. Do you know yet what classes you are going to be asking him to take so we can ask the court to order those?
He and I had talked about possibly finding one that maybe was on Zoom or by phone. I think it's very difficult for him to attend in person, is kind of what he's expressed because of his job. And so I had talked to him about maybe seeing if Lydia Daly would be a good fit for him. So I'm going to contact her and make sure that she feels like that would be a good fit as well.
Can you clarify us whether or not we're asking the court to order that today or if we're holding off?
Yes, ma'am. That would be fine to go ahead and court order that.
Okay. And is that an outpatient substance program?
Yes, it is.
Pass the witness.
Right. So is it the daily recovery program that you're asking the father to do?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I haven't heard anything about Christopher Arenas, the father to Jalen.
He's not included in the OTP, Your Honor.
Oh, he's not?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, then I will take him out. Okay, Ms. Christie, any questions?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Naranjo.
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Ingram, any witnesses?
No, sir.
Mr. Ingram, recommendations?
Let's continue the order. Kids appear to be doing well.
Okay. Okay, then I will order the parents to continue working the services as previously ordered by the court. I'll order both Ms. Hart and Mr. Collin to hair strand and UA drug screening by 4 p.m. today at Care Express in Amarillo. Ms. Gutierrez, you want a compliance hearing?
Yes, Your Honor.
How far out would you like it?
Cherie, do you want your compliance hearing 2 or 3 months out?
Let's do 3, please.
Okay. I have February 26th or March 18th.
Can we have March 18th, Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am. All right, then I will set a compliance hearing for March 18th, 2024. That will be by Zoom like today's hearing, so parties and attorneys can go on the court's online docket a day or so in advance of March 18 to see exactly what. Ms. Gutierrez is with us for the department. Ms. Lemus is with us for CUSA. Mr. Ingram's with us representing the child. Ms. Christie is with us representing the father, Mr. Lindsay. He is not with us. And Ms. Kincaid is with us representing the mother, Ms. Mills, and she is not with us. Ms. Christie, were you expecting your client?
He won't speak to me, Your Honor, so probably not.
Okay. All right. And Ms. Kincaid, were you expecting the mother?
Your Honor, as of this morning, I think her phone has been disconnected again.
Okay. All right.
Thank you, Your Honor. The department calls Joel Rodriguez as its witness. On December 19th of 2022, did you have an interview with Ms. Lakeisha Mills and her child, Kiera?
Oh, yes, I did.
And were you helping that day with Lisa Enenge's investigation?
Oh, yes, I was.
And was Lisa's investigation for allegations of neglect of Kiera and drug use by Ms. Mills?
Oh, yes, that was the allegation we're looking into.
Okay. Now, on your interview with Ms. Mills on December 19th, 2022, what did she discuss about her having family support?
She said she had very limited family support here in Amarillo.
Okay. And did she also indicate that she was not able to work?
Yes.
Okay. Now, when you were present, did you have a chance to observe Kiera?
Yes, I was able to. She let me in the entryway, the hallway of her home, and her daughter was sitting most of the time in the living room couch, and she did go in and out of the bedroom while I was there, but I got a real good look at her.
Okay. Did it appear that the child had disabilities?
No, it was hard to tell because she wouldn't allow me really to talk to her, and she looked. I couldn't tell just by looking at her, and she talked to her mom a little bit, but I didn't know if she was just shy or the extent of her disability, but she looked like an average child.
Okay. Now, did you also discuss the possibility of respite care with Ms. Mills?
Yes, we had talked about that. We had once I got while I was there, I talked to her a little bit, and then I called Investigator Enigo while I was there, put her on speakerphone, and we had talked to her also about that, about respite care and trying to help her offer her services for respite care.
And respite care is where the child is placed without the department's legal involvement, and somebody else takes care of the child temporarily. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And was she offered other types of help during that conversation with you and Lisa?
Yes, she was offered other services that we can do, like help her set up appointments, transport her child to appointments. A lot of Lisa Enigo did a lot of the explaining, but she would refuse to get the help. She says she didn't want CPS harassing her.
All right, pass the witness.
All right, thank you, Ms. Kincaid.
Thank you, Your Honor. In observing Lakeisha interacting with Kiera, did their interaction seem appropriate?
Yes, she seemed appropriate. She, of course, was, in all fairness to the mom, she was under, how can I say, she was not too happy to have me there. And so, she was kind of short with her interaction with her daughter, but that's understandable because, she's being questioned by CPS. And so I didn't see them in the most natural setting either.
Okay. And in observing the home, did it seem appropriate?
Yes, the home was a little cluttered. Nothing, no safety hazards, no health hazards. There was like a ton of clean laundry on the couch, and some items had fallen to the floor. But carpet was clean, and the kitchen area floor was clean. The kitchen was clean.
Okay. And do you know whether she had a car or transportation?
I don't remember completely, but I don't believe she did. I don't recall her specific answer to that.
Okay. Thank you. I'll pass the witness.
All right, thank you, Ms. Christie.
No questions, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Ingram.
No questions.
All right, any follow-ups for Mr. Rodriguez?
No, Your Honor.
All right, do we want him to stay in or can he be excused?
We ask that he be excused, Your Honor.
All right. All right, Mr. Rodriguez, thank you for your testimony. I'll remove you so you can go about your day's business.
Hey, thank you, Judge.
Uh-huh. All right, Ms. Gutierrez.
Thank you, Your Honor. The department calls Lisa Enigo as its witness. Was the mother involved in the intakes, Lakeisha Mills?
Yes.
And to your knowledge, is the child's father Ernest Darnell Lindsay?
Yes.
Thank you. Now, you received multiple intakes in 2022 in your investigation. Is that correct?
I did 4 intakes.
Okay. Can you go ahead and summarize the intakes right now?
Yes, they were concerns of mom's mental illness, her drug use. There was concerns about the child being left alone in the home for hours at a time. There was concerns with the child being left unsupervised in a car while mom was sleeping in the front seat in a Walmart parking lot, and concerns with mom slurring her words and things like that when she spoke.
And did the first intake for your investigation come in on October 4th of 2022?
Yes, it did.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Now, based on that information, did you make attempts to contact Ms. Mills by phone?
I did.
Okay. And did you do that between October 6th of 2022 and October 10th of 2022?
Yes.
And when you finally got a hold of her on October 10th of 2022, what was her response to the allegations?
She said they weren't true. And then during our conversation, she said that she falls asleep at other places like the doctor's office, and that it's not a big deal, and that she wasn't going to work with me, and hung up the phone.
And at that point, did you feel that Ms. Mills was being uncooperative with your investigation?
Yes.
And you continued your investigation anyway, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, following one of the additional intakes during the investigation, did you reach out and see Kiera at school?
I did.
Okay. And had you seen her for the first time on October 13th of 2022?
Yes.
And so when you saw her the second time, was that November 15th of 2022?
Yes.
And what did you notice about her appearance?
Both times or the second time?
We can talk about the first time. What did you notice about her appearance on October 13th of 2022?
Well, I noticed that she had intellectual disability. She was not able to carry on a conversation. She talked and would repeat herself and just say random kind of things. She appeared friendly and stuff, but then at different times she would just sit and not speak at all, just kind of look down at the ground.
And then on November 14th of 2022, can you tell us what the intake allegations were on that intake?
That was the one with concerns with drug abuse. It talked about her being at a pre-kinder age level. It talked about how the grandmother would had kept the child for a while, but no longer could because she had had numerous strokes, and that it was believed that she wasn't getting proper care at home. And there was possible concerns of no, I guess that's it. She was on a depot shot for birth control, it says. Okay.
And on the November 14th, 2022 intake, were there also allegations that the child was losing weight rapidly?
Yes, an AR came in, and there was concerns about that, with the concerns with the child wetting herself a lot more frequently, concerns that the child was losing weight, at least 20 or 30 pounds since the summer. Wasn't sure if she wasn't getting food, but she just wasn't looking right. She wasn't as bubbly or talkative as she had been, and concerns of mom possibly using crack cocaine.
Okay. Now, when you saw her on November 15th of 2022, did it appear that the child had lost weight?
It did appear that she had lost a little weight, and I could definitely see dark circles around her eyes in her appearance that I didn't see the first time as much.
And were you concerned about possible neglect of the child?
Yes.
Did you make another attempt to contact Ms. Mills on December 6th of 2022?
Yes.
However, it wasn't until Mr. Rodriguez, who testified earlier, was able to make contact with her on December 19th of 2022 that you spoke with her again. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. In that conversation, did it become clear that Ms. Mills was the main caretaker of Kiera?
Yes.
And what did Ms. Mills state about her mother that used to take care of Kiera?
That she no longer could, that she had had many strokes, that she was now having to take care of her mother as well.
Now, during your investigation, you contacted Ms. Mills again on January 1st of 2023. Is that correct?
Yes.
And was that an in-person visit to Ms. Mills' home?
Yes, it was.
Can you please describe how Ms. Mills received you into her home or at her home?
She would not let me in her home. She instantly opened the door and yelled at me on what do I want. She was non-cooperative. She wouldn't listen to me. She was very erratic, became increasingly mad, was kicking at her door, and yelling at me. And then at one point, she even threatened to go postal on me, which I assume meant attack me. And so I told her that I would leave, but of course the case isn't going to shut down. We do have these concerns. As I walked away, I could hear her slamming the door open and close.
Now, during that interaction, did you attempt to speak with her about possible respite care to place Kiera outside of the home?
Yes.
And was she open to that idea?
She had made comment how she has tried, but couldn't do it.
Did you also speak to her about working services with the department to help her through the allegations and some of her own struggles?
Yeah, she was completely unresponsive to me.
At that point, did the department determine that the child was indeed in danger and needed to be removed for her own safety?
Yes. Yeah.
Now, during your investigation, were you able to find Ernest Lindsay?
No.
Can you tell us what attempts you made to locate him?
I ran an accurate and tried to call the number that was in our system, and on accurate there I left messages on whatever phone calls it what phone numbers it was, but I never received anything back.
Now, was there also a Ms. Richardson that was ruled out as a possible alternative to removal for a parent-child safety placement?
Yes.
And what was the issue with that home?
She had some criminal history that was not accepted.
And the department received approval from the court to remove the child. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Pass the witness.
All right, thank you, Ms. Kincaid.
No questions, Your Honor.
Ms. Christie,
No questions, Your Honor.
Ms. Stringer.
No questions.
All right, then can Ms. Inigo be excused?
We ask that she be excused, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Inigo, thank you for your testimony. I'll remove you so you can go about your day's business.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Your Honor. The department calls Courtney Brown as its witness. Did you prepare service plans for the parents?
I did.
And were those service plans made in order of the court at the status hearing?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, we offer petitioner's exhibit number 1, the status hearing order, as evidence.
Right, objections?
No, Your Honor.
All right.
No.
Petitioner's exhibit 1 is admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. And Courtney, later on in the case in July of 2023, did the court also order Ms. Mills to do an inpatient substance abuse treatment program?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, we next offer petitioner's exhibit number 2. And that is
Yes.
the order for recommended service on Ms. Mills.
All right, objections?
No objections.
No, Your Honor.
Okay, petitioner's exhibit 2 is admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, Courtney, also in July of 2023, did the court order Mr. Lindsay, the father, to complete a mental health evaluation?
Yes.
Your Honor, we next offer petitioner's exhibit number 3.
All right, objections?
No objection.
No,
Okay.
Your Honor.
All right, petitioner's exhibit 3 is admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, Ms. Brown, we are asking the court today to name the department permanent managing conservator of the child. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Are we also asking that both parents be named possessory conservator?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Now, in the service plans that were made in order of the court at the status hearing, were those service plans reasonably tailored for the issues in the case?
Yes, they were.
And were services uniquely picked for each parent?
Yes.
Can you please, do you have exhibit 1?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can you please go to the service plan of Lakeisha Mills?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, strike that. Can you please tell us what the status of her completion of services is today?
Lakeisha hasn't completed her services at this time.
Okay, can you tell us which services she has not completed?
She has not completed her parenting class. She has not completed her inpatient rehab. She hasn't maintained consistent contact with me, and she hasn't drug screened when asked every month.
Okay.
She also hasn't completed her psychological assessment or her counseling.
And were there positive drug screens for Ms. Mills during this case?
There were.
Your Honor, we next offer petitioner's exhibit 4, drug screen results on Ms. Mills with a business records affidavit.
Objections?
No
No, Your
objections.
Honor.
Okay. All right, petitioner's exhibit 4 is admitted.
And we next offer petitioner's exhibit 5, another drug screen result for Ms. Mills.
All right, objections?
No objections.
Okay, petitioners 4 and 5 are admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, Courtney, is it correct that Ms. Mills was positive for cocaine and some other items in a March 10th, 2023 hair follicle specimen?
Yes, ma'am.
And was she positive for cocaine and additional substances on a May 18th of 2023
Yes,
specimen?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And did that cause you concern?
It did.
And did it also violate her service plans?
Yes.
And you stated that Ms. Mills never went to her inpatient substance abuse treatment program. Is that correct?
She has initiated a few, but she hasn't completed any of them.
Okay. And what was the most recent one?
The most recent was in November at Serenity in Plainview.
How long did she stay there?
3 days.
So that is incomplete as well. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Now, in regards to Mr. Lindsay, Mr. Lindsay appeared at a hearing that was a part of the status hearing. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And that status hearing occurred over 2 days. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So his first involvement in the case would have been March 20th of 23. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Since he has become involved in the case, what has his cooperation with you been like?
All of our interactions are negative. He becomes verbally aggressive. He's also told me many times that he's no longer going to contact me, that I can go through his attorney.
And looking at Mr. Lindsay's service plan and the status hearing order, did he complete his services?
He did not.
Can you tell us what services he did not complete?
Yes, ma'am. He was court ordered for parenting classes, as well as anger management classes. And then a psychological exam, and then maintaining contact with me.
Has Ms. Mills been cooperative with you?
I've spoken to her many times on the phone. She is very amenable. She's never fully, been aggressive with me, but no, she hasn't completed her services at this time.
And what are Kiara's diagnoses?
She has been diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder, ADHD, severe intellectual disability disorder, and then the rest are diagnosis about being in care.
And does she have, is her IQ at level for her age group?
No, it is not.
Okay. Where is Kiara placed today?
She is currently in an HCS home.
Can you explain what that is?
It is a home tailored to children with special needs to provide them with care. And it also is a safety net to ensure that they get that care after they turn 18.
So the home that she's in is a placement that can continue caring for her and all her medical needs, even once she becomes an adult. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Has Ms. Mills visited the child during the case?
Yes, we've had virtual visits.
Can you please explain how those, or describe how those visits go?
Overall, they go well. Lakeisha and Kiara do have a bond. There are a few times where Lakeisha has made comments about her weight gain and things like that. So she's been steered back to a positive interaction. But they are brief because Kiara does have an issue with her attention span. So 15 minutes max is usually what those visits are. But overall, they've been positive.
And has Mr. Lindsay also maintained visits during with the child during the case?
He has.
Can you please describe those?
It's a very similar situation. They're 15 minutes usually. Again, he's had to be redirected to make sure it's positive and not to bring any other, negative feelings or anything like that about the current situation into it. But both of them enjoy the visits overall.
Now, in regards to Mr. Lindsay's treatment of you, with you, is it correct that he has been hostile and angry?
Yes.
Okay. Does that give you concern for his patience to raise a child with special needs?
It does.
And does it also cause you concern that he did not complete the mental health evaluation that the court determined he should do?
Yes, that's a concern.
Is it in Kiara's best interest that these parents remain as possessory conservators?
Yes.
Can you please explain why?
They do have a relationship with Kira, so I don't think termination is in anybody's best interest. But Kira does require long-term care, and so I believe that allowing them to have possessory is in everybody's best interest.
When will Kiara turn 18?
She'll be 18 in July. Or June, sorry, June.
Is it in the child's best interest that the department be named permanent managing conservator?
It is.
Can you please explain why?
We can continue to give her that care that she needs when she's currently right now and onward past the age of 18.
And would you agree that the mother is still struggling with her drug addiction?
Yes, ma'am.
And does that cause concern I'm sorry, I'm stuttering again today, I apologize. Does that cause you concern for her ability to care for the child?
It does.
Can either parent at this time provide for the child's emotional and physical needs?
Not at this time, no.
Can the department do that?
Yes.
Pass the witness.
All right, thank you, Ms. Kincaid.
Thank you, Your Honor. Do you have issues getting in contact with Ms. Mills?
It's inconsistent, yes, ma'am. I try over the phone and sometimes I'm lucky and sometimes I'm not. Same with stopping by her residence.
Okay. Has she reported to you that she has issues keeping her phone connected?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And do you find that she does make contact with you whenever it seems she has service?
Yes.
Okay. And you reported that her interactions with Kiara are appropriate?
Yes, ma'am, for the most part.
Okay. And Kiara requires a high level of care. Is that fair to say?
Yes, that's fair to say.
And it would be difficult for any normal parent to provide for all of Kiara's needs since she has such a high level of care. Is that fair to say?
That's fair to say, yes.
Okay. Thank you. I'll pass the witness.
All right, thank you, Ms. Christie.
No questions.
Mr. Ingram?
No questions.
All right. Anyone have follow-ups for Ms. Brown? Nope. All right, Ms. Gutierrez, any other witnesses?
No other witnesses, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Kincaid, any witnesses?
No, Your Honor, I'd rest.
All right, Ms. Christie?
No witnesses. We'd rest.
Thank you. Mr. Ingram, any witnesses?
No witnesses.
All right, Mr. Ingram, recommendations.
Yes, sir. I believe it to be in Kiara's best interest that the department be named as permanent managing conservator and that each parent be named as a possessory conservator. As you've heard, she's going to have to stay in care when she turns 18 in 6 months. So I agree. I don't see any benefit to trying to terminate the parents. She is not very communicative with us. But I do think she enjoys the visits, as Courtney has stated. So I think that's what's best for her.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Yeah, I'm so happy that we were able to get her in the HCS home. So, all right. Casa, anything to add?
Not much further, Your Honor. We did get to visit, my advocate did get to visit with Kiara in her new placement. Of course, she does struggle with maintaining some attention span, but she seems to be settling in there. Her and her foster mom are getting along seemingly great, and she really is adjusting, making new friends and everything. We did also go visit her on Saturday to go deliver some Christmas gifts. We're very excited. She loves Hello Kitty, and I was able to find a Hello Kitty squishmallow for her. So I'm very excited to hear about how that went. Two supervisors went, and they're off today, so they haven't given me their full report yet, but I can imagine it went very well. We are in agreement with the department and with Mr. Ingram's recommendation after further thought and taking into consideration Kiara's autism, her IQ and everything. We don't also find it that it'd be in our best interest to terminate her parents, and those visits go well. And we're going to assume those will continue to be supervised as long as they want to attend those. And that would be in her best interest to continue that. So we are in agreement for PMC to the department and possessory to the parents.
And does Casa want to stay in this case or be dismissed?
As always, Your Honor, we leave it up to you. She is in our permanent placement in our HCS slot, so we're very happy to hear that, but we'll leave that up to you.
Well, do we believe does Kiara benefit from that, Ms. Brown? Do you think Casa could be of a help, or could they be better used on other cases?
In my personal opinion, I think that they could be used elsewhere. I do think Kira is in a permanent placement that is going to be good for her long term.
Okay, well, I like to stretch CASA as far as I can. So, okay, then thank you. I will, based on what I've heard today, as well as the exhibits that have been admitted, I will name the department permanent managing conservator. I'll name both parents permanent possessory conservators. I will continue the Randall County Domestic Relations Office in the case. I will dismiss all other court-appointed relationships, including CASA, after all appellate and de novo periods have expired. Ms. Gutierrez or Ms. Brown, either one, I read in the report you were asking for minimum wage child support. Are you dropping that, or are you asking for that?
Courtney, we're asking for child support, correct?
That's correct.
Yes,
Okay.
Your Honor, I apologize. I forgot to add that to my request orally.
Okay. Give me just a second. Okay, I will then set both parents' child support based on minimum wage and medical reimbursement at $35 per month. All of those payments will be due and payable beginning January 1st, 2024, and be due and payable the same day of each month thereafter until further court order. We will have our next review hearing on June 10th, 2024. That will be by Zoom like today's hearing, so parties and attorneys can go on the court's online docket a day or so in advance of June 10 to see exactly what time we'll have. Ms. Wiggins is with us for the department. Mr. Ingram is with us representing the child. Ms. Ross is with us, the mother. The father, Mr. Henderson, is an alleged father. I show he is not with us. I have Alexis Venezuela and Michelle Spencer in the waiting room. Do we need them in?
Yes. Can you let both of them in, please?
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Ms. Ross, I've reviewed your application for a court-appointed attorney, and I do find that you are entitled to a court-appointed attorney. I'm going to appoint an Amarillo lawyer named Larry Adams to represent you. And I guess, Haley, you might could just chat her his contact information, or you can call our office, Ms. Ross, and get the contact information. It'll be up to you to contact Mr. Adams' office and set up an appointment with him.
You said Larry Adams?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And then I need to tell you, since I've just appointed him just in the last 5 minutes to represent you, you have the right to ask that I continue or postpone this adversary hearing until you've had time to meet with Mr. Adams and prepare for the hearing, or you can waive that and we can go forward today with the adversary hearing. Which would you like to do?
I'd like to waive and go forward.
Okay. All right. And we will go ahead and proceed. And then again, we'll get you the contact information. Just get with Mr. Adams after the hearing. So, all right, then, Ms. Wiggins, you may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. Excuse me. I'd call Alexis Venezuela.
Okay.
And on December 6th of 2023, did you receive an intake regarding the child? Is it Shanice?
Shanice.
Shanice, thank you.
Yes, I did.
And is her mother Robin Ross?
Yes.
And her father Antonio Henderson?
Yes.
And does he currently live in the state of Washington?
Yes.
And previously, did Miss Ross live in the state of Washington as well?
Yes.
And is it from your understanding that there are previous orders out of Washington?
Yes.
Okay. Now, and Judge, just for the record, that probably makes him a presumed father. We just don't have that just yet.
Okay, I'll make a note of it, and when maybe the next hearing, once you got that, let me know and I'll change it in my notes.
Okay, thank you, Judge. Ms. Venezuela, when you first started the investigation, what did you do?
I spoke with Robin first here at the office, and then after I spoke with Robin, I went to the behavioral health facility and spoke with Shanice.
And had there been a previous intake regarding this family?
Yes.
And what were those allegations?
They were the same allegations as we received in this intake on the 6th. Robin was having difficulty with Shanice's behavior. There was also some other allegations regarding Shanice being in her father's care. And so I was able to call Washington with that, but they were relatively the same allegations.
Okay. And you said you went to the behavioral health care facility. What was going on with Shanice at that time?
When I received the intake this last time, Shanice had refused to go to school. And so Robin called law enforcement, and Shanice was held on an involuntary hold for 3 days.
And when you talked to Shanice, what did she state about herself?
She did state that she didn't want to go to school. She had talked about arguments with her mom. She talked about being physical with her mom at one point last year, I believe. She also talked about smoking marijuana to calm down. And she was getting that marijuana from friends at school.
Okay. And just to clarify, she is almost 13. Well, I say almost 13.
She is 13.
She's 13. Okay.
My math is not the greatest subject ever. Now, in regards to the child, did it become apparent that the child needed some help that the mother could not provide at this time?
Yes.
And where is the child currently placed?
She's placed in an RTC in Sugar Land, Texas.
And what type of facility is that? Is that going to help her with her mental health issues?
Yes, the residential treatment center will work with her to try and combat some of these behavioral problems she's having.
Okay, and hopefully get her on some legal medication so she doesn't self-medicate with marijuana.
Yes, ma'am. That's the goal.
Okay.
She's currently on medication too right now.
Okay. And Ms. Venezuela will obviously make sure that gets checked monthly. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am. I will, and the caseworker from St. Francis will be sure to follow up with her.
Okay. And let's see. Are you asking the court to make the mother and the department joint managing conservators and the dad as possessory conservator?
Yes.
Okay. And do you believe that was that would be in the child's best interest at this time?
I do.
Okay. I'll pass the witness, Judge.
All right, thank you. Mr. Ingram?
No questions.
All right. Ms. Venezuela, because of the child's behaviors that were testified to, skipping school, using marijuana, do you believe it would be unsafe to return the child to the mother today, not because of the mother, but because of the child's behaviors?
That's correct.
Would it be contrary to Shanice's welfare to be returned to her mother today for the same reasons?
Yes.
Okay. And I believe Ms. Ross had indicated she was hoping for an RTC just because the child doesn't go to school and has run away. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you. All right, then, Ms. Wiggins, do you have any other witnesses?
I do not. We rest, Judge.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. Ross, you want to testify? Is there anything you need to tell me today? No, she's saying no.
No,
okay.
no.
All right,
no,
Mr. Ingram, did you have any witnesses?
No witnesses.
All right, Mr. Ingram, recommendations?
Continue the department as joint managing conservator with the mother, father as possessory conservator. Continue placing as is. Every indication is Shanice is settling in fine at the RTC.
Okay, you're so muddled I can't really hear you, but I heard you say
settling fine in the RTC.
Okay,
yeah.
All right.
Sorry, I had to switch to my iPad and the audio is horrible.
Okay, all right then. Okay, then I will continue Ms. Ross in the department as joint managing conservators. I will name Mr. Henderson possessory conservator. I will continue Shanice's current placement. Let's see. Looks like our status hearing will be on February 5th, 2024. That will be by Zoom like today's hearing, so parties and attorneys can go on the court's online docket a day or so in advance of February 5th to see what time we'll have that hearing. And again, Ms. Ross, if you need contact information for Mr. Adams, you can just give our office a call.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, you're welcome. Okay, we will stand in recess. I believe this was our last hearing for the day, so y'all have a good week.
Okay. Thank you. You too.
Thanks, Amy.
Thanks, Judge.
Thanks, Judge. Have a good Christmas.
You too. Merry Christmas, doll.
Congratulations, baby.
Thank you.